Okay, so today we are moving on to other methods of word sense disambiguation. So in the last class, we saw what the word sense disambiguation is, and also we saw one algorithm of doing it, which is called the Lesk algorithm. So in that, what was done is, if you want to identify the proper sense of a particular word, say W, which has multiple senses, say S1, S2, S3, etc., then you try to find an overlap between the definitions of these each of these senses with the other words in the context. You find an overlap between the definitions of each of the senses with the other words which are present inside the context, and which has the highest overlap, that sense is considered to be the proper sense in this current context. Okay, so the limitation we said about this algorithm is very sensitive to the words which are present inside the definition. If there is a slight change in word, it is likely that we might lose the overlap and the proper sense might not be obtained. Okay, so for that we suggested that if we have a set of synonyms, synonyms for each of these words, if those are also included, then we will have a better overlap. And also if we have the proper syntactic categories to which each of the words belong, then also we might have a better algorithm to find the proper sense. So the next algorithm we are going to look at, called the Walker's algorithm, has uh, uh, that idea, that is about including the what the hypernym context. That is what we said. So for a particular word, say vehicle, car, if you want to find the proper sense, if we have the category to which a car belongs, if it is a vehicle, if we have a larger context of that particular word, you are more likely to get the proper sense. So that idea is incorporated in Walker's algorithm. And what is done is we use a thesaurus to provide semantic categories of words. So we are using a thesaurus like WordNet. We have talked about WordNet earlier also. It is a dictionary which contains not only meanings but also the relationship between words. Hyponym, synonym, all those relationships are also maintained. And in such a thesaurus, we'll have the semantic category of the words. Say, for example, if you're talking about bank, we know bank is a running example which we have been using. So, bank can be an economic or a financial institution, or it can be the river bank. So, if in the thesaurus, we are including the category, the semantic category, economic, which is represented using a subject code of EC. Okay. So for every word, if you are using the semantic category or a subject code to denote the semantic category, so that is how Walker's algorithm work. That is, every word will have a semantic category associated with it. And what Walker's algorithm does is, uh, Walker's algorithm to find the proper sense of a word, it tries to find out if the um, if the other words in the context in which the current word occurs has the similar what semantic category. Okay, say for example, okay, let us say these are the two sentences we have with bank as bank having different senses. So the girl went to the bank to get money and the girl played along the river bank. So let us say we want to disambiguate this bank. So what is done by Walker's algorithm is, so we know bank in this context has the economic context, right? But we do not know right now. So let us say there are two contexts, two senses associated with this bank, this economic as well as the, maybe you can say this is some geographical entity or something like that. Okay. Uh, now, what is done by Walker's algorithm is, so in according to the thesaurus, each of these words has a particular category to which it is assigned. That is, a subject code is assigned to it. And what Walker's algorithm does is it tries to find from the context, this context, it tries to find the number of words which belongs to this particular category. Okay, and also the number of words which belongs to, say, GE category. and which is the sense which has the highest overlap. Again, overlap is used, but here we are looking at a particular category or subject code that is used for finding out. Okay, so according to Bocker's algorithm, let key of SK be the subject code. Subject code something like EC. Subject code of sense SK of an ambiguous word W occurring in the context C. So C is the context of the sentence, W is the word we want to disambiguate, and SK is a sense. There are K senses, SK is one of the senses, and for each of the sense, a particular subject code is associated. So we disambiguate W by counting the number of words in the context C with subject code the same as that of W. So W is the word which we want to disambiguate. So we find the count of the number of words in context C with the same subject code as that of W. Okay, we maintain a code, and for each of the senses we try to do this, and the sense with the highest count is selected. Okay, again overlap in a different way. That is what we are using. Okay, so this is the algorithm given in the textbook. So for I is equal to 1 to k, because we have k senses associated with the word w. Now what you find the score for sk. For each of the sk's we find the score. So the score is taken for each of the words wj in the context. In the sentence C, for each of these words, you find out what the subject code of SK, the sense, and the subject code of WJ, the word which we are trying to look at. So you find whether there is an overlap. So this function B is actually defined like this. It will be a 1 if the subject code of SK and the subject code of WJ are the same. Otherwise, it will be a 0. Okay, so based on this, you find the score. So in this particular example, we can see that bank has EC as the same code and money also has EC as the same code. But here you don't have, if you look at this sentence, in the context of money, there are no words. So this, if you are looking at the bank as a financial institution, this will be the, this sentence will have a the code of economic. Okay, so that particular sense, the sense associated with economic or financial institution will be taken. Okay. Okay, the score is a number of words in the context of subject code matches with the subject code of senses. Okay, so how many matches are there? You find out as the score, and then you do an argmax. That is, which sense has the highest score that you take. Okay, so that is Walker's algorithm. Okay, now we move on to one more. We'll be looking at one more algorithm for word sense disambiguation. It is a machine learning based algorithm. So that is why we already saw what supervised learning is. That is learning with a teacher. And Bayesian classification is one of the examples of supervised learning. So here we are going to use Naive Bayes classifier. Okay, we have earlier seen Naive Bayes classifier in the context of POS tagging. Okay, here also we are going to look at, this is the simplest form of classifier we have in machine learning. Okay, so Naive Bayes classifier is going to be used for word sense disambiguation. So in any machine learning algorithm, what we generally do is we will need a training data set. Okay, training data set. So we already saw this is a supervised algorithm. Supervised means we said that is there has to be teacher or there has to be some lots of examples. Okay, teacher shows examples and teaches the algorithm. So there has to be lots of examples, and it is from those examples that the algorithm learns. Okay, so that set of examples is what is known as a corpus. So we are thinking of a corpus in the sense of lakhs of sentences might be inside the corpus. So from that, we, in the case of Naive Bayes, it is actually a probabilistic algorithm, probability based. So you try to estimate the probability of occurrence of each of the senses we are talking about. So we said there are k senses. So there are S1, S2, etc. Sk are the senses for a particular word, which means Naive Bayes is basically a classification based algorithm. So there are k classes, and you try to estimate, given a word, you try to estimate the probability of that word belonging to one of the classes or one of the senses. And the one with the highest probability is what we are going to take as a proper sense. Okay, that is the overall picture. And all the probabilities are calculated from the corpus or the set of sentences which are there. And we are not just giving sentences, the sentences are actually properly tagged. Tagged in the sense, for every sentence, each of the word, the sense of each of the word has been already given. Okay, it is already there. Earlier, right, when we are talking about supervised learning, we said we are teaching a toddler to find out whether a fruit is an apple or an orange. So, repeatedly, many times the teacher has to show different apples or different oranges, and that is how the toddler learns. Okay, similarly, here also you have a lots of data available. So, basically, data which teaches the algorithm. So, you have lots of data which are properly tagged or labeled. So that data, we are assuming that data set is available with us, and only then we can do a machine learning based or supervised learning based classification algorithm. Here, this example is naive Bayes classification, which is again a probability based classifier. Okay, so moving on to this, the most popular word sense disambiguation approaches uses supervised machine learning methods to train a classifier using labeled instances of the ambiguous word. So we said labeled instances are available, or labeled sentences, labeled or tagged sentences are available. That is from the corpus. Now, the labels will be appropriately given based on the context. That is done maybe manually, maybe. After learning, the classifier can identify the correct sense of the word. Now, learning algorithm will need training examples. And also, the learning algorithm, so we are saying we are giving sentences. Sentences are the context. We said the context means it is a set of words or a sentence in which our particular ambiguous word is present. So, how do you represent a sentence to a machine? It is only a set of text, right? How do you represent that? So, in the context of machine learning, we always come across a term called feature vector. One second. Okay, so feature vector means a set of attributes used to describe some object. Say if it is an apple, you can say what is the shape of the apple. It's round, or what is the color, and you have to give this to a machine. So each of those has to be represented as a set of numbers. Okay, so how can you represent a context as a feature vector? So the feature vector might consist of the word and its POS tag, okay, along with the context of the words. So, say for example, she made a silver speech. So, you can represent this as she is the word along with the pronoun as its part of speech tag. Made is the verb, and the it is a verb. Silver is an adjective and speech is a noun. So this is one way of describing this word. Or sometimes we might have the frequency count of the occurrence of words in the particular corpus. So that may also be used. So some way of describing this word. And again, it is not as a text we are going to give it to the machine. It will be a set of numbers. Okay. So that is the concept of a feature vector. Now, so the input, as we already said, in the case of an ABS classifier, we said we have got a corpus which is say some 1 lakh or 10 lakh of sentences. Each of these sentences is properly tagged based on the correct sense, and what we have to do is given a sentence to us. Given a sentence to us, we are supposed to and a word in the sentence. Then we have to predict the correct sense of that particular word W in the sentence C. Okay. So basically, since it is a probability based, Navier is a probability based classifier, we are trying to find the best possible probability based on the corpus or the text which we have. So that is the overall picture. Now moving on to the details. So in Bayesian classifier, the classifier assumes we have a corpus in which each occurrence of an ambiguous word is labeled with its correct sense. So we assume that is there. Now the words to the left and right of the ambiguous word is called the context. Or we are assuming we are taking all the words in the sentence. We might also just take the left two words or right two words, left three words or right three words, and so that can also describe the context. The classifier treats the context as a okay, this is bag of words. Okay. The classifier treats the context as a bag of words. Bag of words means the position of the word is not considered. We are simply saying we are representing it as a set of words like this. The context is represented as a set of words like this. So that is a terminology called bag of words. So the classifier is assuming that the context is a set of words, and each of these words are represented using a number or a vector. It is we are not going to look at how it will be converted to a number and a vector, but we are assuming, since we are talking about a machine, we're assuming it is in terms of numbers. Now, what we want to do is we want to find the most likely sense S dash for an input in an input context C of a word W. Okay, so we have a word W in a particular sentence or context C, and we want to find the most likely sense of S dash. There can be multiple senses S1, S2, etc. Okay, from among those senses, we want to find which one is most likely, and we call it as S dash. Now we can also describe it as S dash is equal to argmax of probability of the sense Sk given the context. Okay, given the context of the sentence C, what is the probability of this sense Sk given C? Conditional probability, and what, and S dash will be the one with the highest probability. That is what why we have argmax. Okay, so basic ideas we have to find, given a sentence C, we have to find the sense. Now, in order to, that is, you can have any combination of sentences, and this for a particular context of sentence, it is difficult to compute this probability. So we apply Bayes theorem. I think we have already seen Bayes theorem in the context of POS tagging. So basically, you can write probability of Sk given C as probability of C given Sk by probability of C into probability of Sk. So we can split this probability as this, because in order to calculate the probabilities from the corpus, it is easier if you write it like this. Okay, because conditional probabilities are difficult to calculate. Now, probability of C is the probability of the context, right? Probability of Sk is the probability of a particular sense occurring within the corpus, and probability of C given Sk. C we know is a sentence, right? Now, C is a sentence or the context. So, given a sentence, uh, or what is the probability of the sentence given a particular sense. Again, this is again, since we have multiple probabilities, that is, sentence means you will have multiple words in it, right? So the computing that is also difficult. So this part is actually rewritten like this. uh, Probability of C given Sk is equal to, it is a product of, so we said C is actually a sentence, right? The girl went to the bank. Girl went the bank. Okay, so this is our context or sense. So what you are trying to find is, given this context, probability of C given SK might be the bank, might be as a financial institution or a river bank, and so on. So for each of these, we need to find the probabilities. So since there are multiple words, calculating this probability is not easy. So we split it. That is, we are splitting it based on each of the words in the sense. That is why we have this pi actually stands for a product, and Wj is the each of the words in the sentence C. Okay, for each of these words in the sentence C, we try to find the probabilities of each of the words and multiply them. When we want to multiply, we are assuming that is the probability of occurrence of each of these words is independent. That is, if there is any dependence between this, then that does not work. But here we are assuming it is all independent. All these words are independently occurring words within the sentence. So that assumption is there, which might not be correct sometimes, but most cases it is correct. So that is why we go for this assumption of multiply. Okay, so probability of C given Sk is again calculated as probability of Wj, that is for each word Wj given Sk, uh, and you are multiplying all those probabilities. Okay, so finally you can write S dash as, argmax of, uh, so the product, we are taking the product here into probability of Sk by probability of C. Now, so this is for, we are saying there are k senses, and for all k senses, this particular value of probability of C for that particular sentence does not change, right? For all of them, it is the same. So we can actually remove this. So S dash can be calculated as argmax of Sk of probability of Wj in, given Sk into probability of Sk. So this is what we finally calculate. This is calculated from the corpus of the sentences. What is probability of SK? Say SK might be the bank as a financial institution. So what is the probability of that occurring within our data set? So how can we calculate that? This probability of SK can be calculated as the count of number of times that SK occurs within the corpus or the training data set divided by how many times the word bank occurs within the data set. Probability of occurrence of a particular sense divided by probability of occurrence of that particular word in the training corpus. That is how we calculate probability of SK. Similarly, we have to calculate this also, probability of Wj given as k. Wj is one of the words. Say girl. Girl is one of the words in this particular sentence, right? The girl went to the bank. So what is the probability of the word girl occurring for this sentence bank? So in the data, in the millions or lakhs of sentences which we have, what is the probability of occurrence of girl within this bank? So you count that. Count the number of times that the girl occurs along with bank divided by the total count of a number of times this what sense bank as a financial institution occurs among all the words. So among all the words, you find how many times the sense bank as a financial institution occurs with the word girl. Similarly, for all the words, we find out and find the product. Okay, so that is how we compute this. Okay, product of all the words in the sentence, you find the probability, find the product into probability of SK, which is sense. This is repeated for all the senses because there are K senses. In the case of bank, we might have bank as a financial institution, bank as a river bank, or bank as a verb, banking on a person. So for all of these sentences, you calculate this value, and which has the highest probability, you find the you assign the sense to that particular word or sense. Okay. Now, what is this? This is actually a way of rewriting this. It is the same equation which is written here, but we are applying log because finding product is difficult. So here when you apply log, you just have to add them up. That is the only difference. Okay, so this is how Naive classifier works. Naive classifier for finding word sense disambiguation. So basically we know we have a label data set or a corpus available with us, and given a sentence, given an input sentence, what we do is we have to find the probability of occurrence of a particular word. So for each of the senses of that particular word, you find the probability, and one with the highest probability is taken. Now, what is the learning which happens here? We said it is a machine learning approach. So the learning which happens here is basically the learning is the calculation of probabilities from the data. So we said we are teaching. It is supervised learning is basically learning from a teacher. So the teacher is basically the data or the actual corpus which is available to us, and the learning which happens is the calculation of prior probabilities. Okay. So this is how naive Bayes is used for word sense disambiguation. Okay. So finally the algorithm. Okay. So the training part here, training part is calculation of probability of SK for each of the senses and probability of WJ given SK. So for all words in the corpus, you have to calculate. If you're calculating and keeping these probabilities, then testing means you will be given a sentence or context C, and you will be given a word, say W, and for each of the senses for that word W, that is SK. For each of the senses, you find the calculation, you calculate this and find an argmax. So with that, you get the correct sense. Okay. So that is how it is.